Hi, my name's Josie McLean and I'm the author of Big Little Shifts, Complexity Thinking for Adaptation and Change Within Organisations. It was meant to be published this month, but I'm holding it back a little bit longer and finding other ways to share it with people. And this video is one of those ways. So I thought I'd start with, well, what is complexity thinking and why is it relevant now? Complexity thinking is a way of perceiving the world, and it's a way that perceives wholes instead of parts. So we have been taught in our Western society to see parts, and when we've got a problem, we try to reduce things down to the smallest part that we can, resolve the issue at that level, and assume that the system will accept that part back into itself without having changed along the way. This problem-solving approach works really well for mechanical systems, predetermined systems they're sometimes called. They don't have a mind of their own. They are designed to produce a predetermined outcome, and they do. A thermostat on your air conditioning system would be a great example. A bike is another example. A building is another example. So these systems are put together in order to produce a predetermined outcome, and direct, linear, simple problem solving, reducing it down to the smallest parts, will solve problems at that level. But complex systems are different. And we've been learning about them since about the 1950s, when scientists started learning more and observing more about natural systems. And what we're learning about living systems is that they behave in almost the opposite way to simple systems. Living systems are about understanding the whole. So instead of looking for the smallest part, if we want to influence a living system, we need to be able to see the whole and to appreciate the relationships between the parts. It's actually the relationships between the parts that make the whole whole. So let me see if I can put that into a context that you may be a bit more familiar with. So an organisation, we often think of the different divisions, the different silos within an organisation, and then the individual employees. And for example, performance management, we performance manage individuals to produce the outcome that they need to produce after we've cascaded the goals down through the organisation. And the assumption is that if every employee actually delivers their KPIs, then the organisation as a whole will deliver its KPIs. And this means that the organisation is no more than the sum of the parts. Now, I'll forgive you if your head is starting to do a bit of a double take now, because I know mine did when I first started thinking about this. It took me quite some time to get to the realisation that an organisation is actually more than the sum of the parts. That an organisation actually has the capacity to deliver synergy, if you like. It's a term we use often in teams, isn't it? That an organisation, because of the way it is put together, it is more than just the individual people. It is the culture that the individuals live in. It is also the individual's performance, but it is also a sum of the particular systems that exist within the organisation. And on top of that, it is a sum of things that exist outside the organisation too. So the societal culture within which that particular organisation exists, and the societal systems within which that particular organisation exists. So that's an example of how we can use complexity thinking to understand and perceive the challenges that face us differently. Complexity thinking is useful for addressing complex challenges or adaptive challenges, and coronavirus is a brilliant example of that at the moment. Coronavirus has actually put a spotlight on some of the challenges that we are facing as a nation and also organisations. It's put a spotlight on flexibility of work. It's put a spotlight on the technology we use for work. It's put a spotlight on supply chains, for example. So using complexity thinking, we're more likely to get more effective outcomes, results, if we use complexity thinking to address complex challenges. If we use the more simple, direct cause and effect, reductionist thinking for complex challenges, we will not get the desired outcomes that we are after. We will probably create more unintended problems than we will solve. So complexity thinking is absolutely right for our times, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the near future.